Break the bias and unleash you. Unleash you. PodHub presents Ladies First 2022. Powered by Moose Clothing from 8th to the 11th of March at Cinnamon Lakeside. 4 days, 4 events, all female panel. Join us physically or virtually 8th March at 4 p.m. The Chat, a high tea event, unique, fun, activity-based panel discussion featuring 4 influential women from 4 different industries. 9th March from 3 p.m. Virtual female empowerment workshops. 10th March at 6 p.m. Female-driven businesses, pop-up sale and live stream. 11th March from 8 p.m. All-female invitees-only concert with music by Umara, Natasha Ratnaikar, Corinne Almeida, Romin Willis, and Upsi. Ladies First 2022 by PodHub. Powered by main sponsor Moose Clothing, official venue partner Cinnamon Lakeside, official PR partner PR Wire, official workshop partner Women in Need, official radio partner E88.3, official TV partner Dialogue TV.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, you know what? Even though I say ladies and gentlemen, I think this is one of the first times I just have to say ladies. So, good evening, ladies. Hello. Hi, everyone. What a beautiful day it is. I mean, look at this backdrop that we have here today. So, once again, welcome, of course, Ladies First 2022. We'd like to warmly welcome you and thank you very much for taking the time to be here. Of course, we're here for a beautiful conversation, an intellectual conversation, and hopefully a conversation that will leave us with quite a lot to think about and hopefully some fun in the meantime as well. So, to give you a little bit of an idea of what today is about and what the next couple of days are going to be about, let me give you an understanding of what Ladies First 2022 is. So, in commemoration of International Women's Day, PodHub, as you know, has decided to conduct a series of events called Ladies First, and today is the first day. And then, of course, moving on to the 9th, 10th, and 11th, we'll be having multiple events happening every day. Until the 11th. So basically, this is a series of events that's meant to and hopefully will help empower women, bring women together so we can network, we can get to know each other and have some beautiful conversations in the meantime, have some fun as well. So the theme of Ladies First is to help break stereotypes and channel greatness as always. So we are live on the PodHub YouTube page and on the Facebook page as well. So hello to everyone who's watching us on the live stream as well. You can stick around and maybe if you have questions, you'll be able to pose some of them to us and we'll be able to have a conversation with the ladies here today as well. So high tea is coming, don't worry. That's happening as well. So in the meantime, let me just mention the sponsors for this evening. So PodHub Presents Ladies First 2022 is powered by our main sponsor, that's Moose Clothing. Thank you very much, Moose Clothing. Our official venue partner, as you can see, is Cinnamon Lakeside, Colombo. Our strategic PR partner is PR Wire, and official workshop partner is Women in Need. We also have our official radio partner, EFM. So thank you very much to our main sponsors and all of our sponsors involved, without whom, of course, today wouldn't be possible. Right. So, the chat. I don't know. Okay, so those of you who are watching us on the live stream, you haven't seen our guests today yet, but let me introduce our panel today so we all know who's here. I'm sure all of you already probably know. You've seen the flyers, you've seen the posters, and the ladies here have seen them in person. Right. So, starting off with Dr. Santosha Fernando. She is a senior lecturer, Department of Medical Humanities, Faculty of Medicine at the University of Colombo. Quite a list of, I think, achievements that I can name, which we'll get to eventually. But Dr. Santosha, thank you very much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. All right, moving on to the VP HR of a global IT company and chairperson of the Lankan Angel Network. Chandi Dharmaratna, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, my friend, award-winning photographer and fashion designer, Rafaela Fernando. Welcome, Rafi. Pleasure to have you. And the one and only pianist, music director. She's a lawyer. She's a founder of Soul Sounds and the Soul Sounds Academy. The one and only Soundry David Rodrigo. Hi. Good evening. So this is our panel, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, I have to get used to that. Ladies today, and gentlemen who are watching, if you are. First things first, I think we just wanted to have a little bit of a sit-down discussion about some of your achievements, because the four of you have had achievements in your respective fields and have climbed to the top, and hopefully there's so much more for you to achieve as well. And I think there's something that we can all learn and have a mutual discussion with, because I think as women, we tend to have the same general experiences regardless of what industry we are in. The female experience remains the same regardless of what industry we are in, what kind of position we are in, whether we're in a power position, or sometimes even if we're not, we still have those parallels drawn within our own experiences. So, to get to know our panel first, I will actually ask a few questions. So these questions, I actually don't want you to answer them. What I want is for you to draw them for me. Oh, Soundri is like, oh my God. Are you not talented with drawing? just whatever, however you feel like of expressing it, let's do so. We can write it. Totally fine. We can draw it. However you'd like to express it, we will do that. So we'll give out these whiteboards out to you. And then we'll see. We'll try to guess if, we'll try to see if we can guess the answers, ladies, as well, okay? So we'll see how our panelists answer these first icebreaker questions. Let's get to know the ladies first. Okay. First question, ladies. I'm just going to put you into this little get-to-know-ya segment. Do you prefer a sunrise or a sunset? Very simple, not too much thought. You don't have to put too much thought into it. You can draw it, or you can write it. It's fine. And then I think our challenge is going to be trying to understand what the difference between a sunrise and a sunset is if they're drawing it, okay? I don't know how we're going to manage that. Okay, anyone wants to guess what Soundri said? Sunrise? Does anyone think Soundri likes a sunrise more than a sunset? Hands? No? Oh, everybody thinks she likes a sunset, do we? Soundri, what is your answer? Let's show the camera.
So I show my board?
Yes, let's show the board to the camera.
There to zoom in big time. And the answer is sunrise.
So she wrote it down.
Yes.
Sunrise. Why sunrise? Because it's the beginning of a new day?
Yeah, so while sunset is really, truly, artistically very beautiful, for me, sunrise gives me that energy, the positive vibes to, start the day. And somehow it's a bit more positive than sunset, which is kind of a bit beautiful, but takes me into that zone where, you contemplate, you think, you reflect. But
It's
sunrise, bittersweet. That's the correct thing.
Rafi, show us your answer. Oh, she drew it and then she was like, will they know what kind of... She just wrote it down. It's sunset it is. Chandi, shall we see yours as well? Sunrise, she says. Okay, here's the challenge. Ladies, what do we think this is? Sunrise or sunset? Oh, I heard both. We have about 3 for sunrise and 2 for sunset. Santosha. Sunset, she says. It's a sunset. Okay, so we have 2 sunsets and 2 sunrises. Wow, okay. Can I ask Rafi why you chose sunset?
Well, I've always been a sunset person. I love the colors, and it's very romantic. It's very the vibe is very different. And I'm not a morning person, so I've seen only few sunrises. So I like sunsets better.
Right. And Shandi, are you a morning person?
I actually am a morning person. So I feel like sunrise is really good for me because I feel there's nobody up at the time I get up.
What time?
Depends on my need to be up, but I would love to get up as early morning.
Ah, right.
And then I'm more prepared, more control of
True.
my day.
Rafaela is like, nope. She's like, no, I prefer my nighttime.
Yeah, I plan everything at night.
Yeah.
So, when I don't hear anyone, I get all the creative ideas.
Right.
In the morning, it's just I love a little bit of morning sleep.
Right. Dr. Santosha.
I like sunset because that is when I reflect about the day. I have a lot to get done during the day, so sunset is when I think about things. And that's, of course, I'm a night person, so it's the beginning of my day. So, yeah.
So, I mean, look at just how different you ladies are just in that respect as well. I feel like we have two pairs of opposites. All right. My next question is, you can write this down, you don't have to draw this. Which app do you use the most on your phone? Which app do you use the most on your phone? Soundra is like, what is this nonsense question? Which app do you use the most on your phone? We already have an answer from Chandi. Let's see. WhatsApp. Simple, easy. WhatsApp is just for work, communication, WhatsApp.
Yeah, for everything, I think now, even if you have a panel discussion, you're normally on a WhatsApp group talking about what you're going to do. Even school groups are now on WhatsApp. Kids are on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Their classes are on WhatsApp. So I have
so many WhatsApp
I have
groups.
2 daughters, so they are athletics, tennis, whatever they are doing, everything has a WhatsApp group. And I miss all of them because I don't know, it's so many to keep up with, but WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. And the same with Dr. Santosha.
Yes, I think technology has revolutionized the way we live, and especially during the pandemic, schools became online, communication became online, all the chats, moms, groups, support systems, they've all shifted to technology.
Sure.
So I'm like a new fan of WhatsApp. I never used to be like that, but now, yeah, I am.
Now you are. Soundri, shall we see your answer?
Yeah, it's WhatsApp as
It's
well.
WhatsApp as well. Okay. Mostly for...
I mean, yeah, also like Dr. Santoshi said, after the pandemic, even all our classes, we had to have WhatsApp groups, like Chandi said, so different age groups, different groups. And so dealing with all that, and I think to me personally, it's come to a point where I'd really prefer WhatsApp as opposed to talking to people. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's just more convenient.
Yeah.
So, yeah, WhatsApp is the first thing.
She's like, don't call me, just WhatsApp me.
Exactly, my point.
Okay, so I think we can all guess what Rafaela's favorite app is, right? You want to say it in 3, 2, 1. Instagram. Yeah. Sorry? Instagram, of course. It is, right?
Actually, it's correct. Because as a photographer, that works as my digital portfolio. So
Yeah.
most of the time I work, I connect mostly with my international clients through Instagram. And we have like a very, a very candid chat about work. We talk about what's good, what's not, and it becomes a very comfortable place where we criticize our own work in a very good way. So for me, it's always, it has to be Instagram. Then it's definitely WhatsApp because of, how we connect with people for like work purposes and all that. And least got to be Facebook.
Oh, really? Least is
Least
Facebook.
got to be Facebook, yeah.
You're barely there. Okay. All right, next question. Name a topic or a subject that you think should be introduced in schools. Name a topic or a subject that you think should be introduced in schools. I'm sure I've gotten the brain juices flowing here as well. A topic or a subject that you think should be introduced in school. We have quite a quick answer from Chandi. Shall we see what it is? Cognitive skills, she says. Cognitive skills. Why?
Because I've done a lot of sessions with schools in Colombo, even out of Colombo, and at any age group, I've seen when they come into university and then come into corporate sector, the skills like adaptability, skills like grit, skills like emotional intelligence, you can't just build it up they think like fourth year in the university, running a program on that is going to help you. Or after you come to the corporate sector, you can't. I think it should be done at the school level, at least an introduction, at least for them to see, what is grit, how I've helped, at an earlier stage. But
maybe, there are also young adults and kids who don't even know that this is something that they will have to develop at some point, or like don't have an idea of, oh, this is a thing that I have to be, sort of. I think that's just even that knowledge doesn't exist, I think, with the whole school curriculum. Soundri, I'm curious to know what your answer is.
What do you think?
Is it? But then the thing is, music does.
I know,
we do
exactly.
have music.
So it goes beyond music. So my answer is cultural diversity.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
I know we have music, arts, and dancing, but it's one of those subjects we choose to do. But we study them in isolation, and we don't go to the roots of where it comes from. It was really after working at the SARC Cultural Center where I got to know about the region, the culture, the diversity that exists, and despite the diversity, how we could come together. But it all comes from knowledge of that particular culture and knowing the differences. And I wish we were taught those in school, because we just did what we loved in isolation, but we never came together. So I really think, a topic such as cultural diversity should be at some point introduced.
I think music and arts is like a perfect way to show people just how intertwined our races, our cultures,
Exactly
our
my
religions
point.
are.
So true.
Which we think are so different. They're actually not when you take a look at arts. Yeah. And then, Rafaela, what do we have? What do you think?
Mental health and self-love.
Right.
Because I feel, we actually had this conversation a while ago as well with the panelists. I got to know I was dyslexic when I was 28 years old. So in school, I was like really struggling hard to study. So, I wish I knew what was really going on when I was a kid. And we had the platform to openly speak about, I have a learning difficulty, and that does not, affect my intelligence, So those kind of little things in school, I associate a lot with young girls and boys who go to school, So they always say they go through social anxiety, depression, all these little things, which when they grow up, it leads to something really disastrous. So I think when we know this, when we are schooling, so we have the knowledge. We also have the medical help to, get things sorted. And self-love, I feel, in school, it's always about success and, more about failure. So with this rat race, and there was a time we used to graduate when we are 28 years old, and now, young girls and boys graduate when they are 18 years old. So it's more like a rat race, Everything is like fast-forwarded. So people lose gratitude, and they really forget to be grateful for the little things that they have, because it's a rat race. We are always racing for, everything. So I feel like in school, if we have this knowledge of mental health and self-love, we have time for ourselves to become better people, and also to have a better mental health when we grow up. And that's very, very important, because at the end of the day, everything is in your head, So, you can be all healthy, you can do whatever you're doing. You can be super successful, but if you're not happy inside your head, inside your mind, so, that is very important. So I feel that we really need.
so true.
I see all the ladies going, yes, yes. All right, Dr. Santosha. Let's show it, actually. I think I'm, wow, that's a long, that's a long subject. Comprehensive.
So if I had to include a subject in school curriculum, it would be comprehensive sexuality education. For so many years, those of us who are in the field of medicine and in public health, we are fighting a battle to include comprehensive sexuality education to school curricula. It is not there due to so much of opposition from and so much of restrictions from different parts of society. But in Sri Lanka, without comprehensive sexuality education, it can never be a society which is safe for our children. In 2020 alone, there were over 11,000 reported cases of child abuse in Sri Lanka, and these are only the reported cases. So there may be so many other unreported cases, and when we try to help children who have undergone sexual trauma, we realize that because there's no comprehensive sexuality education, they don't have the words to name their sexual organs. So even if you take a perpetrator to trial, their evidence falls because the child cannot give evidence in a scientific manner, an acceptable manner. So the more you hide these issues, more and more of our children will be traumatized, and they become adults who are traumatized, and usually the person who is abused has a big chance of being an abuser. So if we are to break this vicious cycle, comprehensive sexuality education is age-appropriate education. It doesn't mean you go and teach a small child how to have sex. It's not that. It is age-appropriate education. So if I had a say about this country and this education, I would introduce comprehensive sexuality education.
I mean, I can clearly see just how much thought over the years you've put into this. I think I remember just last year, if I'm not mistaken, there was such a big discussion about this in the news and with politicians getting involved and so many discussions happening, and it was all over the news. But clearly there is so much, there's so many parties trying to keep it from happening. We see that in society, unfortunately. So fingers crossed, hopefully, with women like you pushing the way forward. So fingers crossed. My next question, ladies. Did the culture that you grew up in have different expectations for girls versus boys? Did the culture that you grew up in have different expectations for girls and boys? The one question that stumped them. I see that they're taking quite a while, but I think I'm seeing the same answer on all these boards. Do we want to show all four at once? Let's see what it says. Yes, 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 perhaps. I'm going to come to you, Soundari. Why did you say perhaps?
No, so yes, but I never let it affect me. So that is how I would probably word it. Maybe not perhaps, yes. But I never saw it as a stumbling block, and I was always there to just follow my heart. And luckily, my parents and my family support system was very strong, and I knew I had their support.
Rafaela, what about you?
Well, yes, but it never got to me because, she said, I have a very supportive family, and my father is Indian, so I'm half Indian. So coming from a very traditional background, so he has always given me the freedom to do whatever I want. So dress however the way I want, do whatever I want. Same way to my sister as well. So I think it never got to us, but we have seen this. We grew up with this surrounding. We have seen this, and it never got to me, and my parents never let it affect us. But that's the sad truth. We grew up with this.
Chandy?
For me, I said yes, because I don't think anyone said it in my face. Family I grew up in, my mother was working, my father was working, but I feel like it wasn't what was said. The fact that I had an older brother, and a lot of things revolved around him, like his education, and then his sports. He played cricket, so there was more time in taking him up and down. It wasn't really said that it's not important that I did these things, but I always saw how it was more prominent for him because he's a guy, so he has to do these things. I don't know, I felt like it. But
it was the little signals.
It was a little signals, not that anyone said I can't do this or I can't do that, but I think I had to just have that grit to do whatever I wanted to do, and I was supported, but definitely you can see more focus on education and sports and everything else for a boy versus a girl. Yeah.
Do you feel like this is something I always think about? I feel like sometimes our families, our surroundings, our societies, they feel like maybe we don't need to push ourselves as much, maybe because you'll be fine. Like there's that afterthought that's like, oh, she'll have someone taking care of her. Either whether that's the parents, and then maybe afterwards, maybe that's because they get married and they have a husband.
Yeah, maybe that was the thought process. I never questioned my parents on that, but I always felt that now I have two daughters. So I keep always telling them that education is very important. Not that my parents said it's not. I mean, they educated me, obviously, right? But
Clearly.
Clearly, right? But the thing is, I think I'm pushing that agenda more because I have two daughters anyway. I don't have a son. But I think maybe at the back of their mind, you know, girl is always going to get married, and who you marry really depends on how your financial situation is. So it's very important that you marry someone who can support you. So all of those notions definitely is there. You know.
How old are your daughters, if you don't mind me asking?
16 and 13.
Oh, wow. Okay, teenagers. Well, lovely. Dr. Santosha.
Yes, I said yes, not particularly because it had much to do with me, because I come from a family of 3 sisters, so there was no comparison as such. But I think I say yes because most of it is not directly told. So many things are implied, and because of my career as a doctor, I have worked in many rural parts of Sri Lanka, interacted with lots of women from day-to-day lives, and I think our whole culture screams to us to be in our place, so to speak, and to find a comfort zone even when we fight for rights or equality. They will say not the equal status, but your appropriate status. So I think more than my own personal experience, I would say I mean, as a representative of women in Sri Lanka who will not make it to this forum, I would say yes. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've all seen instances where what you talked about came true. My next question: what is one assumption that society needs to stop making about women? What is one assumption? I know there's a whole list of them, but what is one assumption you feel like that society needs to stop making about women? You can, it's fine even if you don't. I think it's like it's quite an explanation, isn't it, Chandi? What do you think? Okay. Do we have any, can I get an answer from some of our ladies here? What do you think is an assumption that society makes about women that they need to really stop? It could be, I don't want to give answers. I really would like to get your genuine thoughts on this.
I think one assumption that I have seen is like if you're, you know, a bit assertive, or, you know, if you speak your mind, or if you kind of come across a little bit strong, I think women are normally not that, you know, and I think, I'm not saying that you need to be like a real, you know, macho man or anything, but I'm saying, like, if you are confident about what you want to say and you say it, and, you know, you don't let anyone like walk all over you. Even women tend to think that you're a little bit, you know, bossy in a nice way. Yeah. But I think that has to stop, because as long as you're being respectful and you have an opinion, doesn't mean that you're bossy. I mean, somebody else can definitely, you know, disagree with you, and I should be open to take that point as well.
Rafaela, anything to add?
I think the fact that many refer to us as weak, you know, so women are functioned to multitask, you know, so we can do so many things at once. So many times with the, you know, kind of job that I do, it's very male-centric, you know, so we are called weak. And many times I've, you know, faced this when we go to a very technical forum or something. They're like, oh, women do not know about technical things, you know, you can stay out of this, you know.
They just assume you don't know.
Exactly. So then I just, you know, I just have to tell them like what I have to say, you know, and then they always come across, oh, she's really bossy, or, you know, because we are opinionative, and then again we have a lot of opinions, and you know, so the kind of assumption is that we are very weak when we have to do, like, you know, as a photographer, when you have to do like this really heavy photo shoots where we have to travel a lot, carry heavy things, maybe climb mountains and, all these things, they always come across, oh, you won't be able to make it, so why don't you just settle, somewhere here so you can take the pictures here. So we'll just go all the way up and then finish it. So I've got this a lot of times. So I mean, they always look at you as weak. So I think that is an assumption that, we need to stop. At the same time, women can be anything that they want to. So there's no categorizing all, we don't have to label like this is all what you can do. So, if your mind is at it, so you can do whatever you want to do, So
yeah, I think like Dr. Santosha said, equal, not appropriate. Like,
Exactly.
not to fit someone else's comfort level. All right, so I'm going to come to your answers as well, but right now I think we're going to take a bit of a break and then we'll be right back. Stick around.
මුළු ලෝකෙම වෙලා උඩු යටි කුරු අපි අල්ලගන්න යන්න පුංචි පුංචි තරු අපිට සෙට් වෙන්න ෆිට වෙන්න විසිතුරු මේ පර්ෆෙක්ට් ෆිට් එක මරු Mousse the perfect fit You don't stop
This is E88.3, your lifestyle station.
Welcome back. Check, 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 check. Back. Welcome back. All right, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who are joining us on the live stream, we are here. We're back. And of course, I'd like to give a big thank you once again to our main sponsor, Mousse Clothing. A big thank you to Mousse Clothing for being with us today because, of course, without you, we wouldn't be able to have this particular function happening. And as always, the official venue partner, thank you very much. Look at, this is beautiful. We're about to set sail in just a bit, ladies. So if you want to jump off, now's the time. And I can see refreshments and food coming our way. Yay. Also, we have our strategic partner, PR Wire, official workshop partner, Women in Need, and official radio partner, EFM, here with us as well. So as you enjoy your evening watching us on the live stream, and as our ladies enjoy us, the high tea and refreshments here as well. Let's continue our conversation. We've gotten comfortable. Chandi's like, yeah, I'm here for a bit. Sailing, we're about to sail. I actually want to come to Dr. Santosha. Our earlier question was, what is one assumption that society needs to stop making about women? Your answer was?
I think they should stop assuming that women alone have toxic behaviors. Like they say, gossiping like a woman, talking too much like a woman, shrieking like a woman, fighting like a woman, catty like a woman, and many other words I would not use because we are live streaming. So, but I think we must understand, the society should stop assuming that toxic behaviors and unacceptable behaviors are common to human beings, and they should not assign the blame or the burden of these qualities only on women. And also, conversely, I also think that there are some people who dominantly believe that women are better leaders, women are better with power. I think that is also a myth. If you give power, enormous amounts of power to man or woman, they will be corrupt. And there is no such thing that a woman is inherently more honest. It's not like that. As women, I think what we should fight for is an equal society where you are allowed to be your good and bad, and your good is challenged, and you're accountable for your behaviors, whether you're a man or a woman, and not just say, oh, you know, she's gossiping because she's a woman, or she's honest because she's a woman. It's not. A man can be honest too. So I think we should understand the common traits of humanity and not let people stereotype us.
That deserves a round of applause. Perfectly put. That's so true. And I think, oh gosh, this triggered me a little bit. I was like, you know, because I hear this in regular conversation, just all the time. They're like, "Apo gani ko again." I'm like, excuse me? And it comes from women as well. And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Why would you say that? You know, those little things that we don't think, that we're so used to in society. We're used to saying like little phrases, little things, you know. Aankhe likne, aanko likne, kollo ne, kollo homai. I think we've sort of assigned certain traits to genders, and we really have to stop doing that. Soundari, your answer to this was?
Yeah, I think these three beautiful, highly respected ladies have covered it all. But one thing I can bring out is this assumption that I know I had to grow up with. Like, as a girl, when you reach a particular age, they assume it's time to get married. And then they assume it's time to have a kid. I was one of those who got married later because I wanted to finish my music and my studies. And I remember a time when I could not go in for a family function because everybody would be like, now, when are you getting married? And then it comes to, oh, when are you going to have a child? So I really don't think it's correct to impose upon a girl, because I don't think they think the same when it comes to a boy. So that is something I grew up with, and I try not to encourage such statements from people when it comes to my students now who work with me. So that freedom of choice, while I do agree that as parents you are concerned and you want your child settled before a certain age, but I don't think it's very correct, and I think it's wrong to assume such things.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually personally have quite a lot of friends who go through the same thing as well, and they, you know, and eventually it gets to them. Yeah. It really does. It becomes part of like that little earworm in their ear that's always like, it's always at the back of their head regardless of what they do, because so many people have said it over and over and over again, and they're like, when someone tells you the same thing a million times, even you start thinking, you're like, maybe, do I need to? And then you start telling yourself that. That's so true. All right. So we're moving on to our next section. This is basically, I want to get to know what your personal experiences have been with, in regard to your careers. I think, like I said, the female experience is very similar. But I'd like to tap into some of those things that you have experienced in your career. And I will come first to Soundri David. Soundri, I'd just first off like to ask just the general question of how did you start your journey? Did you have obstacles along the way? I'm sure you would have. But what in your journey sort of happened that made you a little bit stronger?
Yeah, there were obstacles throughout the way. But for example, okay, so I was brought up in a very musical family. My mom is a music teacher. My grandfather was an organist in church, so they assumed I would also take up to music. I am grateful that I did take it up. So there was a lot of pressure because they tend to judge you from the family background, that you know you have to do well in music. And at the same time, there was pressure. You know, I come from the minority Tamil community. And they would want the daughter to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer. You know, that pressure is also there. Thankfully for me, though, I wanted to be a lawyer. I remember when I was small, I used to always be the one who talks back to my dad, and he's like, why don't you become a lawyer? Because you just talk too much. So, you know, there's always those pressures, and then, of course, from relatives, you know. And then once you are doing well, the pressure to keep on at it. And so there are a lot of expectations. Then, of course, for me, one of my biggest obstacles was I did get admission into law faculty. And at the same time, I got a scholarship to go to England to study for my music. And it was a really difficult process to get a deferment from UGC just to go to England and come back. I'm sure Dr. Santoshi knows the issues. So there's a lot of protocol to be followed. It's just so difficult. It's a wonder I didn't give up. So I just had to go through a lot to get a deferment, go to England, finish my music, and come back and do my law at law faculty. So things like that. And then, of course, it's not easy even in the music entertainment industry. It's very difficult. I mean, one would think, she's in music, it's smooth sailing. It's not. There's a lot of pressure to keep on doing well. There are a lot of people who would like to see you come down, bring you down, your morale. So it's a hard journey, and for me personally, it was difficult to balance both law and music. But I took up the challenge, and like I said earlier, I had a good family support system, so that helped me.
What about the music industry? What about women in the music industry? I'm curious to know. You, obviously everyone knows you, and it's a small country. When it comes to women and opportunities for women and the whole business side of music, how do you see that happening here in Sri Lanka?
Well, I come probably from the more Western choral music industry. And so way back in 2004, ours was the first female choir that went and competed at an international competition and came back. So it was not easy because they would just, there were other mixed choirs. I'm talking internationally, but at that time we were just the only choir from Sri Lanka. So to really promote and push for this young female ensemble group was tough, but I must say, and it wouldn't be correct if I did not acknowledge the fact that it had its advantages too. So being the only female group there, obviously they prefer to have a female group as opposed to maybe a boys' choir. So it had its advantages as well. But, when it comes to the pop music industry, our female artists are doing very well, from right now Yohani, Umaria, Ashanti. So I think women are doing it the best they can and doing well, and I'm proud of them all.
Absolutely. Dr. Santosha, I'll come to you. Now, I understand that you are the former Deputy Director of Sri Jayawardhanapura Hospital. Let that sink in. I'm sure that must have come with like a whole other set of issues and problems, especially, just the job itself. But then on top of that, you being a female head of in that sector. What was that like?
That was actually quite a challenge because I was one of the youngest deputy directors of a general hospital in Colombo at this time. I was in my early 30s when I was appointed. So I had about 2,600 staff under me, and as you know, health is a very sensitive issue to people. If you go to a shop and you don't find the nice dress you want, nobody gets angry with the shop. But if you bring your loved one to hospital and things are not going well, it's an extremely emotional, personal problem for everyone. So there were lots of logistical problems, the problems of handling unions, and as you know, the public sector, it's highly politicized. And if you are a woman who is trying to do the right thing, a lot of people take it very personally as well, as opposed to a man struggling with the same things. And if you're a woman and you're trying to manage a large organization, and if you're very sensitive, that is taken as weak. But if a man is very sensitive, he's a very nice person. If you're lenient, you're in trouble. If you're tough, they say, oh my God, she's a woman. Being a woman, she is trying to uphold the rule. So many problems were there. But especially during the COVID pandemic, I was there before I shifted my job to the Faculty of Medicine. So it was very difficult.
So you were there when COVID hit?
Yes, I joined the Faculty of Medicine only in 2021.
Right.
So we had the pandemic in 2019. So managing the vaccination drive and convincing the staff to work in a pandemic, and we didn't know much about this virus. Everyone was very apprehensive, and so to balance all this was difficult. But I think if you are a person of integrity and straight work from the beginning, although people might disagree you with on a day-to-day some decisions you make or the approach you take, but if you have a good track record of being a generally fair person, a generally black and white a person who is fair-minded and honest, I think a lot of people come around to it. But it was actually a very challenging time in my life, I must say that, yes.
Is there anything that kind of sticks in your mind of maybe a comment someone made or something that came up in like a discussion of someone saying something where you know, they try to undermine you because you were a woman? Have there been instances like that?
Actually, I think this is called microaggression. They might appreciate you, but in a backhanded way, like saying, "Oh, she's handling the pandemic in the hospital so well, although she's a woman." But you see, it's not only about gender that we do this microaggression. So they would not overtly come and say, "You're a woman, you're incapable, or you're weak." They would do it in such a way to undermine your work, tying gender. But at the same time, it is not only for gender. That's what I say. Sometimes they would say, "Oh, he's a doctor from such and such an ethnicity, but he's so genuine. Although he's a doctor from such and such a place, but you know, they will mention a race and say, "Hema unat harima hundai." So they will say things like that. So in the same way, they will say about women also. Although she's a woman, she's very capable. But you see, I think what we should fight for as women is not only for the freedom for our gender. We should fight for the freedom of justice in every sphere. If we have justice in every sphere, then we will have justice for our gender as well. We cannot fight this alone, for women alone. We must fight it for all races, all religions, all cultures, all levels of wealth. They might say, you know, "Duppatunat hari avankai." So that means like a poor person will just steal if you keep something. So they think that, you see, so we must fight stereotyping, stigma for everyone who is marginalized.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I feel like your line of work has exposed you to quite a wide variety of people and thoughts and opinions. Do you feel like your career has definitely, did it change you in any way?
Absolutely, because I think I have no personal complaints about this world or gender. I have no personal problem, but I have worked in places like Dambulla, Cheddikulam, internally displaced people's camp. I have worked in the Rajarata University of Sri Lanka in Anuradhapura, and I have traveled far and wide because of as a doctor, to these places where real women have real problems. And I think on a daily basis they are abused, they are harassed, they are economically disempowered. So I think all these experiences have only convinced me that I have to be a custodian for justice for everyone. And what I've realized is that you can't emancipate women alone. You can't give freedom to one section of society alone. The struggle for justice and equality should be a general one, and when the whole society improves, the status of women will also improve, although we have unique problems. Yes.
Yes, definitely. Rafaela, yes. Rafi, now when you first started off as, let me just clarify something. You've always wanted to be a photographer. Is that where your career path is always headed?
Yes, I always wanted to be a photographer and a designer. I actually started off as a designer.
Right.
I think since I started dreaming of a career option from a right mind, these two were my main priorities. And I always had a very adult conversation with my parents when I remember I was about 11 years old when I just went to my parents and said Mama, Dada just said, I want to talk to you all, and I told this is what I want to do, you know, because I'm very sure about this. And I remember my father saying this to me, whatever you want to be, you can be. And if you're sure about it, no problem. Because I told him, I remember just after my O-levels, I said I want to do my A-levels private. and I want to start doing designing. And they were very supportive for it because they always thought that I will do something. They had the trust. And also, I think most importantly, since I was a child, I had that confidence in me that I will definitely do this. And it was not a popular job opportunity or like a career option back in the days, you know. So it was something very foreign and alien for us also as children, you know. So, and I also remember when I was in school, they asked this question, right? Like, you know, when you grow up, what do you want to be? So I said, I want to be a fashion designer. And I remember my class teacher wanted to meet my mother and said, you know, like Rafaela is not serious about her future. And my mother was like, how old is she? She's just 11 years old. And then she was like, no, she needs to, you know, think of a very solid job. Like, what is this? She's talking about being a designer. And my mother was like, whatever she wants to be, like she wants to be a designer, it's okay. And if one day she says, I don't want to do anything, also will support her with that. So I think that was always ringing in my head that, you know, I had that freedom and, you know, so I was a very free child. So
you were, the world was your oyster. You just, it was open to you regardless.
Always.
Thanks to your parents.
Always.
Absolutely.
Because in school I did everything. I did drama, I was in the debating club, I did art, I was in the photography society.
Yeah.
So you name it, everything I did.
Yeah.
And I was a confused child, I would say, because I wanted to really know what I want to do. So I did everything. And surprisingly, I was good at many of it, you know. So I did drama, and I was like, I took part in stage plays and all that. So I was like, okay, is this a career option? You know, so I had that time because when we are children, when we are really young, we always get very confused what we want to do. So, you know, sometimes we say, when I grow up, I want to join the army, and if not, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, you know. So for me, it has always been the creative side, so designing, painting, and I had my first art exhibition when I was just 14 years old, and then I had some of my paintings exhibited at the Japanese National Art Gallery. So I was really exposed out there. So, and I always
overachiever.
not really. I would say I had that freedom to really go out there, see, you know, what I can do with the talents I have. So,
was there ever a moment where something would have happened and you thought, you know, maybe that you wanted to give up photography or your career path?
yes, I've had those days because when I started photography, we had very few female photographers to look up to, you know. So then I was always told, so this is like a man's job, like you should not do this. And I remember getting these long messages, and I remember, you know, I had a breakdown at home, and I told my father, so what am I going to do? Like, I was about 16, 17 years old. I was like, Dada, I look like I'm getting such messages.
Was it messages saying this isn't suited for you?
Yes, and also using, you know, like certain words that really hurt me. So I showed these to my father. My father was like, don't worry about it, you know. So if you want to do this, you can always give a try. If you're not good at it, you have time to like really start all over again. So there was a point because my photography style is very dark and conceptualized. So, and back in the days and even now, it's a very foreign thing in Sri Lanka. So when I started, they always questioned me. So this is not really for the Sri Lankan market. You should not do these concepts here. So there's a point I really wanted to give up also. And then I was like, you know, I mean, why not? I'm just going to give a shot. But luckily, the international doors started, you know, opening for me. So when I started working there, you know, the thought process changed. I felt like, no, I'm doing the right thing. It's just I need to change the mindset up here. So it took about 8 years for them to accept me. This is my 15th year in the industry. It's just now people love my work, you know. So there was a time that it was criticized to a point that I really wanted to give up. You know, luckily I had opportunities to work abroad. So not everyone would have those. But that's one reason why I always, you know, voice this, you know. So if you have a different, unique style, we need to give a platform for it to really bloom, you know, because it could be something amazing.
Special, yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. And I mean, look at you now. I mean, there must be so many girls who are looking up to you saying, oh, I want to be a photographer and a stylist like Rafi.
We have so many super
Talent.
talented female photographers now. So we have a, like a regular chat, so we talk about photography, we talk about concepts, we talk about job opportunities, because I don't do weddings and events. So whenever I get offers, I always send those work to them, because I feel it's not like ganging up, like we don't have to gang up, but like, but overall, women photographers have very less work. So when it comes to male photographers, but there's a point now, like, where there are many female photographers really outshine, so it's a nice thing. But like most of the time we have to share the opportunities when we get, because now I don't do wedding and event photography, so if I don't do them, like than saying them I don't do, it's always nice to recommend someone and send work to a female photographer. Not that, like, I don't want to send it to a male photographer, but I would like to always support another female photographer
yeah.
to just come up.
Absolutely. So you said you sort of tried so many different things when you were a child. What about Chandi? Were you that way, or quite the opposite? You always
Tried
knew.
so many things
Yeah?
as a child. Oh, yes, I did actually. So I did a lot of sports, and you guessed it. You guessed it. So I did a lot of sports, and all the societies I could ever join. And I think I was one of the kids. My mother left. She went overseas when I was about 15, and I grew up mainly with my father. So therefore, my father would always get late to come and pick me from school. So in those days, we didn't have mobile phones or anything, and I think my best thing was I will just, make sure I had a pair of shorts and a T-shirt in the bag, and I'll, and they have all these girls who go. I went to Visakha, so we had like the girls, who go really far away after school. They take the school bus, so they bring the butt packets. So I will go to 10 of my friends and 10 mouths, and I'm full. We'll have some water, and I'm doing all the sports. So I did that, and then I think I was more into doing all those activities than my studies during school. But then, so my school career, definitely I did everything that I could ever.
Did your career, when it comes to sort of the level that you've come to, did you see yourself moving into this industry as a child, or did this like happen by chance?
To be really honest, I never had the need to ever become a career woman or anything like that. I studied economics, and I did my MBA and business, right? So I never had HR as a profession that I was going to get into. But along the way, so I worked overseas for about 12 years, for about 8 years. I studied there, and I came back here, and I joined MAS, and I was in strategy and more on like this joint venture partnership, research and things like that. And during that time, I was given the opportunity to take on the head of learning and development because of some of the work I've done. So I took that on, and then soon, I think I did a good job, and then Vertusa saw me making a presentation on a Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning at, I think, ACBT. And they thought, let's hire her. So then the thing is this, right? I always advise young girls that you don't have to think that you plan everything out. I mean, it might work out to some people, but for me, I didn't sit here and plan, okay, this is the career path I'm going to take, right? But whatever opportunity I got, I just put everything I had into that, and I wanted to make sure that I gave the best outcome that I could. So I'll do whatever it takes, like work till 2, 3 in the morning or whatever it takes, even if it is just putting together a proposal for something, right? It might not give me I can't even sit and think about what kind of career it's going to give me at that moment, but I'll do the best that anyone ever can do on that part. And that always gets recognized. And funnily, at some point in your life, that experience, because you really learned everything you have to do when you did that piece of work, that knowledge, maybe in 20 years, you're doing something, it clicks. So it all kind of adds up. So never, do something because, oh, I have to just do that, and, I'm anyway going to find another job. Never have that mentality. Just do your best. You get recognized.
It's kind of like combining the dots, right? Like eventually, once you get to a certain place, you realize, oh, the skills I'm using now are things I learned at like that thing that day with the thing. It's life.
God knows. You might have a business idea about something, and then it could be triggered because of something you did long time ago. Or you can help other people because you know something now. So.
Absolutely. If you have any questions for the ladies here, then we'd be happy to ask them as well. So if you have any questions for our panel here today, please feel free to pop in your questions. I'm waiting for the drinks. I don't know about you. Yes, I think we can get some refreshments coming in to our panel and all of our ladies as well. I think they're getting impatient. Gentlemen. I'm like, gentlemen, please. All right. So that being said, I think we can sort of move on to our next segment, which is Break the Bias. Now, this year, I don't know if you know, but the theme for International Women's Day this year is Break the Bias. So I think we spoke about quite a lot of assumptions that we have about women and genders and whatnot. So Break the Bias, I think, to talk about this, we'd actually like to get your input into this as well. So basically, we will give you this piece of card. I think it's being given to the panel and to ladies here as well. So we'll hand them out to guests here as well. Pens ready? Yes, okay. So basically, I want those of you who are watching us on the live stream to answer this question as well. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a few of your answers. Basically, I want you to tell me, or write down in this case, something which is a statement that you were told as a woman that either you couldn't do or either you shouldn't do as a woman. And tell me, give me an example, hopefully, of a way that you said, no, I can, or no, I'm going to do that. So write down what it is that was a statement or a question or some kind of moment that someone told you, you shouldn't do that as a woman, or you can't do that as a woman. And then we'll talk about how we all have actually overcome all of those. So you have your pens and your papers coming your way. Take a little bit of time to think about it. But in the meantime, until you think about it, I'm actually going to thank our sponsors one more time. To mainly our main sponsor, Moose Clothing, and our official venue partner, Cinnamon Lakeside, Colombo. We also have our radio partner, 88.3, your lifestyle station, and our official workshop partner, Women in Need. All right, we'll get into that, but right now we're going to take a small break, get some food into these ladies. or we're gonna be hangry. Hangry is what we call it, and we'll be back right after this.
මුළු ලෝකෙම වෙලා උඩු යටි කුරු අපි අල්ලගන්න යන්න පුංචි පුංචි තරු අපිට සෙට් වෙන්න ෆිට වෙන විසිතුරු මේ perfect fit එක maru Mousse the perfect fit
Don't stop. This is E88.3, your lifestyle station.
මුළු ලෝකෙම වෙලා උඩු යටි කුරු අපි අල්ලගන්න යන්න පුංචි පුංචි තරු අපිට සෙට් වෙන්න ෆිට වෙන්න විසිතුරු මේ perfect fit එක මරු Mousse the perfect fit
කොවිඩ් වසංගතය නිසා ඇතිවන ආතතියෙන් ගෘහස්ථ හිංසනය ඉහළ ගොස් ඇත. තවත් ඇස්කන් වසා නොසිටින්න. ඔවුනට හඬක් වෙන්න 077-56-76-555ට කතා කරන්න. මේ අසීරු කාලය තවත් අසීරු වීමට ඉඩ නොතබන්න.
Check. Ladies, by the way, turns out it's a buffet situation. Please help yourselves. All right, we are back live, ladies and gentlemen, for Ladies First, the chat. A very good evening to all of you who are just joining us. We're having a conversation about lashes. Yes, so girl talk, right. So once again, thank you very much to our sponsors, our main sponsor, Moose Clothing. And of course, we're enjoying this beautiful high tea on this beautiful lake, courtesy of Cinnamon Lakeside, Colombo. So thank you very much to our main sponsors there. That being said, now before we went in for a break and kind of filled our tummies, I did ask the question, what is a statement that you were told where you couldn't do something or you shouldn't do something and you basically told them that they were wrong? I'll start with mine actually. So for me, working as a presenter, one of my first jobs was working at a sports channel. So when I was working in sports, you know, as a presenter, you do your research. I'm not the biggest sports fan, but I like certain sports. But then when it's my job, I will do my research and I'll come ready, right? So I remember being at this American Football League once, and I was the sideline reporter, and it was like this opportunity of a lifetime because I was working with 10 sports. And we were it was the first time that I got to work with an international production and got to see like all these like 20, 30 cameras at work. And a director who had directed the Super Bowl was directing this. So I was like, I need to learn everything, right? So I'm in there, up in their space, kind of like listening and watching everyone, trying to learn, trying to see how things are done there. But then one of the sportscasters, who was also a gentleman from the States, they loved me. They absolutely adored me. I was pretty young as well, 21, 22 maybe. And they said something, and at one point during the conversation, he said, oh, like, they love you, they love you, they love you. Like, our team loves you, you're doing a great job. And then he said, oh, like, you're a girl, of course they love you. And I remember in my head going, wait, so all of these compliments you were giving me is just because I was a girl? Like, is that what you meant? They love you because you're the only girl here? Is that what you meant? Not that I had the guts to ask him at that point or make a statement, but now, looking back at that moment, I remember that hurting my feelings because he had complimented me, but then he had closed it off with, you're a girl, of course they're going to love you. Like, everything else was pushed aside because I was the only girl there. And, you know, just because I was pretty on the eyes, I don't know. It was that kind of message that he gave me. And I remember that hurting my feelings. And then I remember thinking, I will never be just that girl in a television production. I will never be that person in a television production who is there just to be a pretty face on camera. I will never be that person. I will always be there because of my talent and my value. Plus the good looks, sure, right? Because, I mean, if I bring it to the table, I bring it to the table. So that was one of those defining moments for me in my career, because I remember being hurt by it and then realizing, oh, you're basically saying you can put any girl here and it would have been great, right? Like, is that what you're saying? But I remember that being a defining moment. Do you remember any defining moments where someone said something and you thought, no, never again? And this question is off to our guests as well. If there was ever a moment where someone said something and you thought, no, that's not going to be me. I'm going to do what I can do and what I want to do. Do you have anything to share? No? Yes? Yes? Please. Oh, wait, hold on. I'll come to you if possible. I'll come to... We'll hear you.
So, like this is, I think, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. I'm coming from recruitment. My career is coming from recruitment, so I did a recruitment. I went for an interview. I went for an interview, and then they say that, okay, you are a girl and you are a female, so I don't think you can do a big volume recruitment because you need a guy for that. Because you want to talk to people, and there's a big volume, and there's a lot of stress is coming. So I got rejected, so I didn't get the job. But right now I have a company, recruitment company, and I started a company. So yeah, I have like 20 employees with me, and I'm working with a lot of very big IT companies, and the company that rejected me also. So I'm working with them as well. So that is a good, yeah. Thing.
That's brilliant. Anyone else want to share something, a story? Yes? Gee, I feel like you have something. I feel it.
So I have this experience in one of my previous organizations. I still remember this. Me and my colleagues actually we were coming after a meeting, so we dropped by at Coffee Bean and got ourselves coffee. And we came with the takeaway cups to office, and it was on our table. And one of our, senior bosses called us in. And so the three of us are quite, we like to sort of get dressed nicely. We love our shoes and handbags and stuff like that. And we were called into the room, and we were told, look, you all are discouraging other females here because y'all are wearing branded stuff and drinking coffee from, coffee shops which other people can't afford. And they're going to get demotivated. And don't do that. I'll never forget that. Because, and also he commented on our shoes. We were not wearing the same shoes with the same color. Like you're all wearing the same shoes and, sporting branded stuff. And, we were shocked actually. And we thought to ourselves, listen, if I was a young, executive and I see someone, dress well, carrying themselves well, I'll aspire to get there. I'm not going to get demotivated. I'll see, that's who I want to be. But the whole perception of, just because we are females and we did this was seen very differently. And to actually call us and, tell us was, something that I'll never forget actually. So, those are the kind of, I think, challenges women face in their workplaces, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is like, those are things we'd never think of saying, but then, we've heard these things. We've had people tell us this, and you still look amazing. You're still the best dressed. All right. Anything you want to add?
No. Okay. Okay, so this is, I'm a lighting practitioner by profession, and it is a very male-dominated field, I must say, and you don't really get many women. I think I'm just maybe 3 women in the field right now, and I'm one of them in Sri Lanka. So this is actually a project that I found very interesting a couple of years ago, and really wanted to do it. So, I didn't think any of it. I thought, okay, fine, I'm just going to go for it, and I did my proposal and quoted for the project. And obviously, you don't have your name on it, you have your company name on it, and I did get it. And when I actually went to sort of meet the authorities to get it done, he just outright told me, like, I don't think you can do it because you're a girl, and you have to work with a lot of men, and why don't you try to hire someone just for the project so that maybe it'll be easier for you. And then I said no, and there was no way for them to reject it as well because they had already approved the project. So I said, no, I'm going to do it, and I did, and I was working with maybe about 40 other men who were under me, and I was the only female, and yeah.
And here you are, congratulations. That's amazing. The level of underestimation and then the level of comeback that we can come back with, that's amazing. Anything you want to add here in this table? I'm going to bother you. I'm very sorry. Hi. So break the bias. Anything that you were told that you couldn't do or you shouldn't do, but then you thought, nah, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, so when I became a first-time mom, I was told, I'm from Maldives. I'm married to a Sri Lankan. I studied here. We met and then we went off to university, came back. I've been with him for 18 years. So I thought I had it figured out with his family. But when we had a kid, I was told, okay, that's it. now you have to stay at home, take care of her, put your career on hold. I didn't. Luckily, I had an amazing husband who really supported everything that I wanted to do. So, yeah, not much change. Of course, being a mom means you put your child first. But that doesn't mean we have to forget about what we love to do or taking care of ourselves. I still get to travel, even with my friends. I get to take a break because I have a really amazing husband who supports that. I have a good career. I get to go to work every day. I come home, and I get to be a mom too. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Kudos to you. I think that's kind of an underrated topic, I feel. We talk about career-wise, achieving in that respect. But when it comes to moms and families, we want to overachieve even with the family as well. We want to do everything, and we can. Absolutely.
I'm not sure whether it was a cultural clash because in my country, it's very different. Families are way more open-minded and liberal. I thought that would be the case with his family as well, simply because they lived abroad their whole life. But yeah, that wasn't the case. I mean, they're lovely people. They support it now. Obviously, I'm here because I get that support. But initially, this is what was told to me. I did what I wanted to do. And that's what I'm going to teach my daughter.
Absolutely. We're super glad that you did. Anything you want to add?
So the society always tell if you are a girl, you can't stay alone. Don't walk away from toxic relationship. I've been always said that no, you can't walk away from that relationship because you don't have your father and you need a support system for your life. And I was like, why not? Why should I stay with a man who won't allow me to work, who won't allow me to be who I am? So I was like, all right, you stay, bye-bye, I'm gonna go. And that's what I did. And I'm so proud of it because I have a good career. And it's just me living my life. So I think we females need to stand up to us. If someone is telling, no, you can't do it, you can go tell, no, I can do it. It's just because I'm a female. It's just because I was born a female. It's not my issue. And I have seen the society continues this. If you're a female, you need a man in your life. No, it's not that. I read a lot, and in a lot of books I say this, in Sinhala books. And there's this Sinhala book that says, සංගවෙමි එබෙමි නිසසලවෙමි සසලවෙමි ඇඹරෙමි එහෙත් පසු නොබසිමි නොනවතිමි කවදා කොතනකදී හෝ මහ මුහුදෙහිමි හමුණු කෙනෙහි මා සතුබර ඔහුට දෙමි. It's in the all-level syllabus, and it teaches all the girls, like, one day go give your entire weight to your husband. No, you need not to do it. You can look after yourself. You can stand up to you. If someone is bothering you, if someone is torturing you, it's either your friend or someone. It need not to be your boyfriend, your fiancé, or husband. If you don't get that respect you need to be given, you don't get that value. So feel free to walk away, be you, enjoy your life.
Absolutely. If you choose to do it, then cool, that's up to you. But if you choose not to, then that should be a viable option for you, absolutely. Well, I mean, look at the different levels that it affects women at. Anything you'd like to add, ma'am? I noticed you clapped loudest.
Oh, all right, thank you. Well, I've seen so many comments. I can say that right now I'm in a situation that where I have given up my career. I am a hotelier. I've been in the highest management level. And I was told during my career, in the long journey, it's been about 24 years, in several occasions I was told, as a woman, you cannot take this decision. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. And being a woman, there was many situations where people try to use my personality, and at the back, I think you mentioned that you wouldn't have your pretty face just right in front of the television. But there are several occasions that I was pushed to, they tried to push me in front, to use my personality, but they take the credit. No, I didn't stand for that, but I think as women, we should stand for our rights. And lastly, I was the general manager for the Crystal Sands Hotel. But lately I took a decision with all my abilities and my skills and my experience. I think I should have my own business. And I should be able to empower all the women and give opportunities to all the other women to get along. Like, I think I have the potential and the ability. I have decided to move away from the working for others and build up my own business. And at the moment, I'm working on it. So I think all the women over here are great. I think we all have great strength and skills. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything you'd like to add, ma'am? Yes? No? No, she's like, no? She's like, no, I'm good. All right. This table is like, no, I have a phone call, I can't. They're having a, she's like, she literally went there to avoid me. I'm going to take that as a cue. Okay. All right. Anything in particular you'd like to add as well, ladies, really quickly?
I personally think that we had the best advice from the audience.
Yeah, really absolutely. Good. Please, a round of applause for our ladies in the audience. All right, thank you so much. Now, that being said, I think we can move on to our final segment, which is we're going to actually have you pick a question out of a bowl. We have a bowl. The questions are coming, so we'll see what your answers will be. These will be very, these will be sort of maybe your opinions, maybe this or that kind of situation. So let me, actually, you go ahead, lovely. Dr. Santoshia, let's see what you get. We'll see what, okay, yeah. Go for it, go for it. Take one at a time, yeah. Dr. Santoshia, you want to read that for me?
Yes. My question is talent versus female representation in organizations. Are women not promoted solely because of gender bias or because they lack talent?
Are women not promoted solely because of gender bias or because they lack talent? This is talent versus female representation in organizations. In your experience?
I think one of the main reasons, I mean, I can only say this in my experience. I've been in the state sector.
Yes.
Right now, I'm in a university system where predominantly women are high-flying academics. So I can't talk about the university system. But in the previous organizations I have seen, less women join management authoritative positions. This is symptomatic in our parliament. It is symptomatic in the in government run boards. In parliament we have less than 5%, one of the lowest percentages of women in Sri Lanka, in a country is seen in Sri Lanka. And even not only in parliament, even if you take government boards, 50% of the board members should be females. If you take electricity board or water board or any such thing, I mean, actually we are nearly 52% of the population. Maybe 52% should be women. So the reason that you don't see so many women at the top, it's because women don't generally make it as a percentage to managerial and authoritative positions. It is different, I think, in the corporate sector because they are guided by more liberal and more enabling norms. So I think it is not the lack of talent. It is that the system doesn't allow allow women to come to it in the sense that it doesn't cater to the biological narrative of a woman. You know, a desk or a chair can't give birth. Only a woman can give birth. And a lot of organizations don't like to employ women, even in the state sector. As a administrator, when you're recruiting, you know, you get indirect influence to say, you know, like if you take women, they go on so much of maternity leave, then they have some concessions to breastfeed and these sort of things. But I mean, it is amazing because here we are are living in a country which is actually running on the sweat of women. Our economy is actually all this that we enjoy in this country, for especially for free, like free education, free health, transport, even a paracetamol you might get free in a public hospital. This is because of the women who work in the Middle Eastern countries, and because of the garment industry, female driven, and because of the tea industry, main workers are the women. And it is so amazing that that we think this way. And also we are in the habit of quoting the first female prime minister and the first female president, both of them great women who have done a lot for democracy. But we say that we are a great nation, but they are from the same family, the same school, same privilege, same social class, and the same opportunities. And I mean, while I think they have tried to take the narrative of women forward, you know, it is but then it is not represented in our parliament. So it is the same in politics, it is the same in government sector. I think the private sector fortunately can attract wonderful women like Chandi because they have more, they account for it, they have flexi hours, I suppose, I don't know, but they may be having some kind of provisions and some policies to ensure that there is some kind of a gender equity in promotions, in representation. I mean, all these things are, some of them are there. So I think it's not the lack of talent.
Yeah.
It is a systematic asymmetry we see in this society.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a side note, I really hope your vocabulary kind of brushes off on me. That's my thought for the day.
Tuition.
Yes, I'll come meet you. I'm going to come to Soundri because I think we will release her after this question actually. What does your note say? What is your question today?
So my question, I think very apt for me. Not everyone wants to have kids, but why is that frowned upon? Actually, I'd really like to ask a question from everybody else who actually frowns upon the fact that I've been married for now well over 12, 13 years, and it was a decision myself and my husband took. I also am married to an Indian, so initially we had to sort out issues of where we would base our lives. And also I was very much into my music. I was very passionate about it. I still am. And of course my law, and I didn't want anything to come in the way, not because I didn't love children. I adore them. I work with so many children now. But I just wanted to give them my 100% attention. And at that time, I knew I wouldn't, because my love, my passion for my music and what I wanted to achieve just took priority. But this is, I'm most respectful to these beautiful women here who have like lovely children, and hats off to them. I think they are the true women, multitasking. But I was personally not ready for it. And even to date, I've been asked, but why? I mean, my mom asked it just yesterday because it was my birthday, and she's like, but I don't have a grandchild from you. So I really think people should think beyond. And it is a personal choice, and I think that choice should be respected. That's all I have to say. I mean, yeah, you tell me why it's frowned upon.
I think you got the right question. I think your opinion, I think you've probably had more life experience about that particular question than most of us. All right, so I think, Soundri, we have to let you go.
Yes, please. I have to go for another event. But thank you so much. Thank you to these lovely ladies.
Yes.
I've learned a lot from all three of them, and you, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you to PodHub for inviting me, and I wish you all a very happy Women's Day.
Thank you very much.
so
Soundri David, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Which will bring my question to Chandi. What is your question? Here, you cheated. You took a paper, you sent it back.
That was about something very personal.
Okay.
That you would have been better answering that question.
Okay. What is? I'm messing with you. I'm sorry.
Why are men applauded for taking on multiple roles while women are expected to play those multiple roles in life?
Why are men applauded for taking multiple roles when women are expected to take those multiple roles in life?
Yeah. So I'm actually thinking, are men applauded for taking multiple roles? I don't know. They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see two yeses and a no.
I get where you're coming from. Because I was reading this article, not an article actually on, I think Instagram, like a small, picture, where they showed how the husband takes the child to school and everybody says, oh, what a great, and then the husband, does something and then everyone goes, oh, wow, what a great, But we, women, we do it all the time, but yeah, right, from that perspective. But I also like to look at it from a different perspective where, I think it's also because of the societal expectation from a woman to multitask. For example, you're a mom. There are certain roles that I think only a mother can play also. And therefore, we do it, And there are certain roles a father plays, and they play it. But I honestly am of the notion, and I'm sure it's not I don't know if it's popular or not, but I strongly believe, like, just do what you think is good for you. I mean, if you think, you want to multitask and you want to do that, just do it. I don't think we women do anything because we want to get applauded or recognized for it. I mean, if you stay at...
To get categorized. So I think the only thing we need to focus on is being human, So whether we are a woman or like a man, it does not really matter as long as we are really proper human, So this society needs to be human-centric, not women or like a male-centric society. And I think at a point I always feel, this is a very personal thought, I feel like we are like civilized animals. We are tamed because of this. Every moment we get categorized, whether it's the gender, whether it's the religion, race, culture, how we dress, how we sit, how we achieve anything, For all these things we get tamed. And also there's an invisible cage, and which is the most dangerous cage. We are like civilized animals. We are caged day to day. We are asked to do certain things, and we do these things, and we are taught to create these categories. So if we just look at everyone as human, and I think it's always here. As long as we look at everyone as human, there should not be a question. So
Absolutely. Ladies, I think this brings us to our closing statements and our final section. Are there any questions anyone here would like to ask from our panel? No, I think we covered most of it. But I think just finally, just from me personally, I'd like to know your thoughts on the importance of... So we're here today, all of us here, and then our panelists here today. We talk about quite a lot of this, but then how important is it, do you feel, that after we have these discussions, after we talk about these things with our peers, that we put those thoughts and those seeds that we plant in our brains into action in our homes, in our workplaces? How important that is that segment? I'd like to ask Dr. Santosha.
Yeah, it is very important. I think it should be a collective effort. That's what I always feel. Whether it is education, it's not only about female education or female empowerment, it should be the social empowerment. Actually, if you look at Sri Lankan society, suicide, addiction, mental trauma, these things are far more common in men. So men are in a society where you marginalize women and do not give them equal opportunities, men also suffer. Because this marginalization and disempowerment of women will overflow to the family, overflow to the relationships, overflow to motherhood. So I think it is very important that as a country, we look at gender neutral laws. You saw that the first female DIG's appointment was contested in the courts because the law doesn't refer to she. So these are the kind of things we should fight for he and for she. And I think the principles of equality and justice are equal to men, women, children, animals, nature, everything. So to take a look at life from a vantage point of justice and to apply it and to fight for the rights of everybody. This is what I think. But women have unique problems and unique marginalization. We must do affirmative action and we must fight for things, but we must also fight for the whole of society. That's what I think.
Shandi, anything to add to that?
I think it's all said, very well said. Only thing that I would like to add is the comment that the question that you asked about, the question about where should it all start. And I think with the entire break the bias and what I totally believe is that it has to also, like you said, mind and also to start at home with, if, everything starts there. And I mean, the little daughter or the son is looking at maybe the father, the way the father treats the mother, or the, mother, treats the father as well, and also how that whole, children don't learn by reading these things or learning it in school. They learn more by the way that we act at home. So I think if you are to break the bias, I think it should start from home by the actions that the parents or the extended family show to the children.
Rafi, anything to add?
Very well said by the two lovely ladies.
Yeah.
But, one thing, this is a very personal thing. I think both of us had this conversation a while ago also when we were downstairs. Like, we have this particular day as Women's Day to celebrate us. I think this has to be a constant thing, a regular thing. We need to celebrate us daily. We don't need one particular day to talk about us. Likewise, I think, like Dr. Santosh just said, men need to be celebrated too. We never talk about their real issues. And also we say, if they talk about, we say Gahani ekage khandulu kata, but we never hear that from a man but the higher percentage of, depression patients and suicides are men, because they are not crying, you can't cry, men don't cry. All these things and don'ts and do's and don'ts are there for men as well, which is really sad. And, and I think it's a great support system. It goes hand in hand. We need men in our lives, and not as a romantic bond or something like that, like our fathers, our colleagues, our friends. There is
the male presence in yeah, absolutely.
That definitely has to be there. And, and for me, it has always been men who has supported me, starting from my father, my husband, my best friend, all these amazing men. So, I have mad respect for them. At the same time, I always feel like we need to celebrate them and talk about their issues more, because it's hardly spoken about. Even on Women's Day, it's not the best day to talk about men, but I still
We'll do that on November 19th.
Yeah, but we rarely talk about them,
Yeah, it's International Men's Day.
But we rarely talk about
yes,
them.
No, that's very true. That's true. So I completely agree.
I feel like we don't need a particular day to talk about us. We need to celebrate us daily, but they said it all,
Just like Dr. Santosh has said, it's justice for all, and then we'll have justice for us as well. Absolutely. Ladies, it has been more than a pleasure talking to all of you and sharing thoughts and having a beautiful conversation about your experiences and society as well. Thank you so much for your presence and for your thoughts as well. And thank you very much to everyone who was here as well. I hope you enjoyed the evening. I hope you, I hope this conversation helped sort of add more into your daily conversations as well. So thank you, ladies, for being here today. And thank you to everyone who joined us on the live stream as well. This has been a conversation with Dr. Santusha, Fernando, Rafaela Fernando, Chandi Dharmaratna, Soundari, David Rodrigo. Of course, ladies first. Ladies and gentlemen.
Sasha Karuna Ratna.
And me. Sasha. Ladies first, of course, we have multiple other events coming up tomorrow, day after, and the day after that. That's on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of March. We have a all-female concert happening on the 11th. On the 10th, we have quite a lot more happening as well. We'll give you all details on our socials. Please do follow us on PodHub, on all social media platforms. And today we'd like to say a very big thank you to our main sponsor, Moose Clothing, and our official venue partner, Cinnamon Lakeside, Colombo. We also had our strategic PR partner, PR Wire, and official workshop partner, Women in Need, and official radio partner, EFM. We will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. All right, have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you.